guys, Robert here, and welcome to episode 4 of RobGioPrompts, where instead of you guys asking me questions, I ask you questions and you answer them if you so choose. Last week, I asked you guys what are some artists that you would like to see me cover for RobGioMegacollabs in the future. Here are some of your responses. Weezer. No reason. Just Weezer. Yeah, good choice, dude. I think Weezer would be a fun series for me to do, especially since the Blue Album and Pinkerton are obviously their most well-acclaimed albums, and I feel like that if I were to do a series on them, I think a lot more people would come for those albums than any of their others. And even though their discography can be a bit spotty at times, especially since Ratitude is god-awful and terrible, I do think, however, that they have generally made more good albums than bad ones. And plus, the majority of the artists that I have covered were electronic so far, and I really haven't covered anything rock-related yet, so I guess Weezer would probably be in contention for a good place to start in that regard. I personally would really love an Aphex Twin Megacollabs series, even if it has been done to death. Kraftwerk, Brian Eno, and Music also come to mind. Yeah, about Aphex Twin, as much as I'd really love to cover him, and as much as I really love his stuff, I kind of don't want to at the same time. Mainly because Searman already did a Megacollab series on him back in the day, and I really just don't want to copy what he was already doing with it. Like, in RobGioMegacollabs, you know, I'd really just like to keep things original and kind of stay away from artists that people have already covered in the form of Megacollabs, so yeah, sorry dude. However, for these last 3 that you have mentioned, I definitely see myself cover these guys. I mean, Kraftwerk, I would eventually have to cover them sometime since electronic music as a whole would not have been possible as we know it without them. Brian Eno would be a pretty fun one for me to do as well, despite the fact that his discography can be a bit intimidating considering how large it is. But at the same time, he is I think he's one of the most well-acclaimed figures in the world of ambient music. And for music, I've been a fan of his for quite some time now, and especially since Tango Invective, Bluff Limbo, and Lunatic Harness are my favorite albums from the guy. And he really hasn't made a bad album yet, kind of like the same thing I said for the Chemical Brothers, like they haven't made a bad album yet. I would really like Megacollabs to have seasons with Music, Outriker, Plaid, and Mouse on Mars. I really love IDM. I'm really looking forward to the release of season 10. Yeah, like I said for the last response, Music would be a cool series for me to do. Outriker, for them, I do really see myself covering them in the future. However, they're not 100% on the table just yet because for RobGio Ranks, I'm actually doing a series on Outriker, so maybe after I cover these albums in the form of RobGio Ranks videos, maybe I'll do a Megacollabs series on them. But for now, I think we'll just have to wait. For Plaid, I think it would be an interesting series for me to do, but I would have to do them alongside the Black Dog since I think Plaid are kind of like the offshoot project to the Black Dog. And for Mouse on Mars, I really haven't listened to anything from Mouse on Mars, so maybe when I get into them, maybe I'll consider it. I'm honestly still waiting for a series on Kraftwerk. They'd be the oldest band covered on the matter. I would also love to see Infected Mushroom. Yeah, like I said before, Kraftwerk would be a fun series to do. Like I said before, electronic music would not have been possible without them. For Infected Mushroom, I definitely would actually see myself covering them. And the fact that I've only covered, I believe 2 albums from them is really a sign that I'd be, really interested in doing a Megacollabs series on them. Especially since Vicious Delicious and Army of Mushrooms are my 2 favorite albums from them. And when it comes to the electronic artists that I've covered, I think Infected Mushroom would kind of be the first psytrance artist that I would ever cover for this series. So yeah. Wouldn't mind seeing a Megacollabs series on a couple of jazz legends, honestly. Coltrane, Mingus, Miles, Monk, Ellington, Chick Corea, Hancock, Sanders, all of the classics. For some Lexi focused artists, sorry for the awful pronunciation, I throw in Vibert, Kelly Owens, Floating Points, Tobacco, 4 Hero, Mouse on Mars, 2814, and Tim Hecker for some picks. Hey, maybe Christoph de Babylon too if them bombarding picks don't get too saturated for you after V-snares, ha ha ha. For guitar music, I don't know, maybe Weem, that's the only band that matters, ha ha. Okay, so for those jazz artists that you mentioned to me just now, I don't mind doing jazz artists for Megacollabs in concept, because as you may know, technically all of the artists that I have covered in RobGioMegacollabs are electronic, and I really haven't covered any artists outside of the electronic sphere. But the thing is, I think those jazz artists have released a bajillion albums. Like for Miles Davis in particular, he has released 61 studio albums, and we don't have time for 61 anything on RobGioMegacollabs, unfortunately. But if I were to do a Megacollab series on Miles Davis, I think I would maybe do 10, 15 albums from him. I think that's the best I can do, I guess. But I will say, I think the albums I would most definitely would want to cover would be, you know, Bitches Brew, In a Silent Way, and Kinda Blue. Those albums are legit awesome and among the best albums in the world of jazz. But, I don't know. I probably need to look more into him aside from those 3 albums, so yeah. For those other artists that you mentioned, I kind of do see myself covering Luke Vibert, but I only listened to his latest studio album, Grit, which I thought was pretty good to great, and I included it in the honorable mentions for my 2022 year-end list. And I don't think I mentioned that in that video because I had 81 honorable mentions for that year-end list, and I just really didn't want to say them all in one video because that would take 5 million years. Kelly Lee Owens, it would definitely be a cool one for me to do since we definitely need more female representation in that series. And especially since I plan on covering Bjork for season 9 of RobGioMegacollabs. So yeah, there's that too. But back on track with Kelly Lee Owens. She has only released 3 studio albums, so I'd probably include her EPs as well alongside her 3 albums, just to, you know, fill up those, you know, little spaces, if you know what I mean. For Floating Points, I definitely need to look more at him since I thought Promises, his collaboration with Pharoah Sanders and the London Symphony Orchestra, was legit awesome. I included it on my 2021 year-end list. For the other artists that you just mentioned, Tobacco, 4 Hero, and Mouse on Mars, and 2814, I actually haven't listened to any of those artists. You know, like I said, for Mouse on Mars, I actually haven't listened to them yet. Tim Hecker, I unfortunately don't see myself doing a Megacollab series on him. Even though Waffles did a Megacollab series on him and stopped after Rave Death 1972. But even then, that is like still the majority of his discography, so I don't plan on covering him in the form of Megacollabs anytime soon. And for Christoph de Babylon, I haven't listened to anything from him yet, but I think he would actually be pretty cool to do since, you know, I actually do plan on doing Venetian Snares for season 10 anyway, and, you know, I think when it comes to the quantity of albums, Christoph de Babylon would kind of be a more accessible series than Venetian Snares, considering the fact that Christoph has 6 albums to his name, while Venetian Snares has 20 plus studio albums to his name, so yeah. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, for Ween, I don't know, like maybe once I look more into them, I would probably do a Megacollab series on them. But the thing is, the only song I listened to from Ween was their song Ocean Man from their Mollusk project. And that's really because it's from the end credits to the first SpongeBob movie, so yeah. I personally would love to see a whole range of bands and artists be covered. The Megacollab series has been mostly electronic so far, which is definitely not a bad thing at all, but I listen to all kinds of music, and I like to see more diversity in genres covered. You kind of branch off with some of your community posts about which songs you prefer already. Anyways, here's my list of some good ones off the top of my head. I know it's a long list, but these are just some ideas, and I'm just gonna kind of break down each artist down the list as we go. But yeah, starting with Radiohead. Radiohead, I don't know about them. Like, I remember watching if you guys don't know, I actually do watch this YouTube channel, David Bennett Piano. He's phenomenal. He's great at making these music theory and these song videos. But one time he made a video on chromatic meters, and one of the song examples was Morning Bell, and he played both versions, one from Kid A and one from Amnesiac. And unfortunately, not too long after that video was posted, he got a copyright strike for playing short snippets of that song, which to me was bullshit, because it's clear to me that that video and all of his other videos fall into fair use guidelines. And I myself don't want to have to go through a situation as tumultuous as their record label coming after me for using Radiohead's music in my videos, so I don't want to cover them simply because I'm worried that if I use any of their songs in my videos, my videos would either get blocked or, get copyright striked. Even though I used a short snippet of 15 Step in that my favorite album from each year I've been alive video. And now for the others, and I'm probably just gonna blow through a lot of them, or probably all of them. Muse, probably, but it would probably end on a bad note because Will of the People is terrible. Coldplay, that would be an interesting one for me to do since A Rush of Blood to the Head is my favorite album from them, but also Music of the Spheres is terrible. Weezer, like I said in the beginning, they would be fun for me to do. Nirvana and the Foo Fighters, that would actually be pretty cool considering the fact that the last time I covered a band with an offshoot project to the side was Pendulum and Knife Party for season 3. And while Nirvana do continue to be influential as they are even after the passing of Kurt Cobain, Foo Fighters, on the other hand, are still thriving, and they have really made more good albums than albums that I'm not big on, because The Color of the Shape and Wasting Light are among some of my favorite albums ever. The Beatles, I really don't want to cover the Beatles. I'm worried that if I use any of their songs in their original form in my videos, the record labels would come right after me. Pink Floyd, I think it would definitely be a possibility, especially since a lot of people would show up for Dark Side of the Moon and Wish You Were Here. King Crimson, the only album I listened to from them was their debut. If I look more into them, I'd consider it. Biosphere, I'm not totally against the idea, but just like with Outerker, I'm actually doing a RobGio rank series on Biosphere, so once I'm done with that, I would consider it. BT, pretty much the same thing with Aphex Twin. Searman has already done the Megacollabs series back in the day, and in RobGioMegacollabs, we want originality, so I'm not covering him, unfortunately. Green Day, I guess would be a fun one for me to do, especially since American Idiot still holds up, but it would also end on a bad note because Father of All Motherfuckers is terrible. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, sure, but really the thing is, you never know how many albums they're gonna release in a single year, because last year in 2022, they released 5 albums in a single year, with one of them, Ice, Death, Planets, Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava, making my personal year-end list for 2022. Yes, the band, yes, would definitely be fun for me to do. Even though they have some pretty terrible albums like Open Your Eyes and Union, there's also
the Yes album.
There's also Tales from Topographic Oceans and my personal favorite, Close to the Edge. There's just so much great stuff from Yes. I really don't mind covering them. And besides, I actually did include them in the season 5 voting poll back in the day, so maybe I should give them a chance. Genesis, I really need to look more into them, especially since Phil Collins is a pretty good to great musician, known for hits like You'll Be in My Heart and Against All Odds. But I don't know, maybe if I look more into Genesis, if I fully immerse myself in their discography, I'd consider it. Porcupine Tree, I definitely need to do a series on them sometime, especially since I really enjoyed Steven Wilson's presence on Pendulums to Fountain. 9 Inch Nails, I think that would be a fun one for me to do. I've listened to a bit of all their albums, and I think they've made some really good to great albums on average. Blur and Gorillaz, that one makes sense, just like with Nirvana and the Foo Fighters. And I didn't mention this for Nirvana and the Foo Fighters, but it would make sense since Dave Grohl is both the former drummer of Nirvana and the current lead singer of the Foo Fighters. With Blur and Gorillaz, Damon Albarn is a part of both projects. But the thing is, I only listened to Gorillaz with the exception of Cracker Island. For some reason, I just haven't gotten around to listening to their new album yet. But for Blur, I actually haven't listened to any of their stuff yet. Or maybe I have. Maybe I have, but I just don't remember. I don't know. For Boards of Canada, same thing for Aphex Twin and BT. I'm not doing a series on them, because Searman already did a series on them, and also Sklitch too, so yeah. The Strokes, again, if I look more into their discography, I'd consider it. The Avalanches, they've only released 3 albums. I don't know, maybe I'd include their EPs too, but I don't know. I'll probably decide which projects I'd cover if I plan on doing a series on the Avalanches. The Cure, I've only listened to a bit of their songs. I really haven't listened to a lot of their full-length projects, I don't think. So, yeah. John Hopkins, that would definitely be a good one. That one's a really, really good one. John Hopkins is seriously one of my favorite electronic artists. He has made so much great songs over the course of 6 mainline albums to his name. And the fact that he got no votes at all in the season 8 voting poll means that I think people are sleeping on this dude. So if there's one thing to take away from this video, go check out John Hopkins. He's amazing. Swans, the only album I've listened to from them was To Be Kind. They have just so much albums in their discography. Like, I don't think not that many in the grander scheme of things, but still, again, if I listen to more of them, more of their albums, I'd consider it. Red Hot Chili Peppers, I don't remember listening to anything else they've made aside from their hit song Californication, surprisingly. But yeah, again, just like many of the others, if I immerse myself more in their discography, maybe I'd cover them, maybe I'd give them a chance. Because I think they seem to be a fun one for me to do. Also really happy to see Bjork cover next season. I've been meaning to truly get into her stuff for a while now. Her post-Vespertine work is certainly challenging, I can definitely say. Yeah, like for Bjork, I'm definitely looking forward to covering her once season 9 arrives. Because she is one of the most unique artists I have ever had the chance of listening to. And, like, there's not one bad album in her discography either. And this would also be pretty historic for RobGioMegacollabs, as Bjork will be the first female artist I'll ever cover for, RobGioMegacollabs, so, yeah, pretty cool shit. I would like to see you cover more rock or even metal bands. I really like electronic music, but I think it could be interesting to alternate with some other genres of music like pop, rock, rap, indie, metal, trip-hop, folk, or even blues, jazz, classical, reggae, disco, R&B, funk, gospel, punk, or OST movies / video games, etc. It could be a good thing. Some artists with small discographies could also be great because there will be more artists discovered and ranked. Anyways, these series are really great with an awesome participative concept, so I join your rankings in any case, and thanks for all these videos. You're welcome. I would definitely like to cover artists out of the electronic sphere sometime. Like, I definitely need to give rock a chance. Again, bands like Weezer and the Foo Fighters would be good starting points. And for artists from other genres aside from electronic and rock, I do see myself covering like rap artists too, you know, such as Kendrick Lamar and Run the Jewels, since their discographies are consistently great. And for artists with small discographies, I do see myself covering Valesmith if he releases a 6th album, which I'm pretty sure that's gonna happen because he released both Chorus Gate and Rekindle in 2022. So maybe a 2nd album from him this year would be a possibility. As for what artists I'd be excited to cover in the future for RobGioMegacollabs, Outer and Music come to mind, although the former is going to be a tough cookie with LSEC and NTS sessions on the line, and perhaps FSOL, as it would be a good excuse for me to finally get into their stuff. Yeah, all three of these artists would be fun for me to cover. Like I said, for Outer and Music, they would be fun for me to cover, but for the former, you're going to have to wait until I cover all of their albums in the form of RobGio Ranks episodes, which at this point might even bleed into 2024 at this rate. I don't know, to be honest. For FSOL, it would be awesome for me to do, since both Accelerator and Lifeforms are really phenomenal albums, like especially the latter, since Lifeforms is one of my 5-10 out of 10s. And you know, their Environment series is like really cool and fascinating to listen to in general. So maybe I'd consider FSOL, maybe. Future Sound of London would be fun to cover. I would definitely like for you to cover Queen for RobGioMegacollabs in the future. I mean, doing a Megacollabs series on Queen, sure, maybe I'll do a series on the Bohemian Rhapsody guys sometime. But the thing is, considering how songs like Another One Bites the Dust and Bohemian Rhapsody and We Are the Champions are, I'm kind of scared that if I would play them in my videos, then my videos would kind of get blocked. I'm not really sure. For the artists, I can see some of these: Beatles, Queen, Pink Floyd, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, U2, Scorpions, Gorillaz, Muse, Linkin Park, Genesis, Supertramp, Metallica, Michael Jackson, David Bowie, Eminem, Madonna, Lady Gaga, Rihanna, Black Eyed Peas, Eagles, Queens of the Stone Age, Dire Straits, The Police, Kasabian, RHCP, Rammstein, AC/DC, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Faith No More, Massive Attack, Portishead, Bruce Springsteen. There's too many. It depends on what period, what style of music, and what influence you search, I guess, and it could extend your public with some other listeners of music, I think. Okay, I'm not gonna break down all of these artists. I mean, I've done a lot of breakdown with one of the previous responses. I've already done enough breakdown with Jacob 2004's comment. But I will say David Bowie would be a fun series for me to do. And like I said in one of my recent community posts, if RobGioMegacollabs were to have an end, then David Bowie would be in contention for the last artist I'd cover, because not only is his discography pretty large, but Black Star is my favorite album he's ever put out. However, I am not interested in covering the Black Eyed Peas, because I mean, they used to make really good albums, but eventually their material became garbage, to say the least. Especially since Elevation is the worst album they have ever made. So, yeah, I'm just not that interested in covering the Black Eyed Peas. As for the artist I want to see in the future of RobGioMegacollabs is Pink. However, it will be amazing to this because for some reason, I could definitely see myself doing a series on Pink, actually. Like I think her transition from pop to rock is 100 times better than Machine Gun Kelly's transition from rap to rock. Even though Tickets to My Downfall kinda slaps. But back on topic with Pink, I think she's a really interesting artist. I'm not sure if videos on her from me would get blocked because how popular some of her hits are, but yeah, Pink would be cool for me to cover as well. And yeah, we are actually now out of responses. And I actually really had fun with this because not only did I respond to more comments than last time, but like y'all gave me some really nice choices, especially with the rock stuff. Like I would definitely want to do artists out of the electronic sphere, like I said before, and I really just had, you know, a good time breaking down what artists I should do, which artists that I don't think I should do, in my opinion. But yeah, feel free to let me know other artists you would like for me to cover for RobGioMegacollabs in the comments, I guess. I don't know. But I have one question for you. What are some of the weirdest stage names of all time? Feel free to leave your creative responses in the comments below, and I'll pick the best ones for the next episode of RobGioPrompts. But yeah, we've made it to the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a like, share this one with your friends if you want to, and leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe as we're on the road to 8,000 subscribers. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, guys.